And now we are recording. So welcome everybody to this September Kubewarden monthly meeting. As usual, in this meeting, we have people from the community and people from the team. For today, I will be your host. I'm Victor. And we have in the call also Martin, just in case they want to say something. Hi. And then we have also Jose.
Hello.
And we have Fabrizio also here.
Hi.
And last but not least, we have also Robert.
Hello, everybody.
And oh, Robert, I see that you have, oh man, that's a good stash that you have there on your corner, to be honest. I'm quite envious.
Well, I would like to say that they're mine, but they're not. These are some of the raffle prizes that we'll be giving away to two lucky contestants, actually three, because I have a pair of really nice Bose or Apple Beats headphones as well. So there's three things that we're giving away for Rancher Day at day 0 for KubeCon Salt Lake City in North America here coming up in about 4 weeks. So if you want to sign up, come to Rancher Day. Kubewarden will have a small part there. We'll be talking about Rancher, some SUSE products, and all the other stuff. So if you are going, I'd love to give you an opportunity to win some apparently really cool toys. I'm not a Lego guy, so I don't know.
But that sounds great. Many thanks. And many thanks. No, we will be there in KubeCon North America in a booth for Kubewarden. So yeah, come and say hi. That said, let's see what we have today for this meeting. Let me just share super fast the meeting agenda. If I'm fast enough. Now we should be sharing the screen. And you can see, as usual, the document that we have for our office hours. So what do we have in this meeting? We have talks about the 1.17 release, which was a nice one, and it happened at 10 days ago, no, at the end of September, as usual, once per month, more or less. And in that on that topic, we're going to talk about the removal of Cert-manager and the self-rotating of certificates and CAs, which is going to be great. We also have these new CRs that are policy groups, and we will talk about them. We can do a small demo about them. And then we can talk about what we have coming next, which is going to be for 1.18 and onwards. And in that level, we can talk about SLSA level 3. We are already level 1 and possibly level 2. We are only missing provenance, but yeah, it's there. We also are going to have the addition of short names for CRDs and the removal of B1 alpha. And then in general, we have some announcements that went also at the time of the 1.17 release, which is a new policy, a rewrital of an already existing policy, a nice automation for our release of Helm charts and testing there. And then, our presence in KubeCon North America. Okay, so with that said, the first thing about 1.17 is the Cert-manager removal. I suppose, Fabrizio, you could talk about that, no?
Yes, so we managed to remove the Cert-manager dependency, and this was both something asked from the community and something we wanted to do, since a lot of time. And then we finally found time to do that. Basically, we generate TLS certificates for some components and they're all internal to the cluster of Kubernetes. And those components are all the validating and mutating webhooks configurations. We have both validating and mutating webhook configurations that point to our controller directly. And those are for validating the CRDs, such as like policy server and the cluster admission policy and admission policies, and now the policy groups as well. And then we have like some webhook which is configured dynamically because we are an admission controller. So every time a user deploys a policy, then we need to basically configure a validating webhook or a mutating webhook configuration to make the policy work. And for that, we weren't using a Cert-manager. We were using something that was fixed, like a CA that we will generate internally and had an expiration of 10 years. And with the new approach, basically we can rotate all certificates, including the CA. There is something that Cert-manager doesn't do. And also we keep everything up to date and it's all automatic. So a user installs with Helm and then he gets the first certificates, and then this certificates gets rotated automatically. And eventually in the future, we could think about some bring your own CA or even bring your own certificate feature. If you're interested in this, please ping us on the Slack channels of Kubernetes, and we can plan. I don't have a demo because everything works as expected. Like you're gonna update a minor, and that's basically opaque to the user. Like the user shouldn't worry about that. It's all basically upgraded and cleaned up automatically. The only thing that the user should care is removing Cert-manager if it's not used as a dependency for other components in the cluster, which are not Kubewarden.
Okay.
That's all, Victor. Yeah.
Sounds great. A silly question. So if one upgrades, no, from pre 117, so let's say 115, 116 into 117, what happens there? Does the user need to do anything in special?
So we always suggest to follow an update path, which is like minor to minor. So from 115, you would want to update to 116 and then to 117. And if you do that, basically there is no action required from the user. It's all taken care about from our hooks in the Helm chart. Apart, of course, like removing Cert-manager if it's not a needed dependency anymore.
Sounds perfect. As a reminder, though, I think we don't have, but OpenTelemetry has a dependency on Cert-manager or something there in the stack. So just check the documentation and so on. Don't blindly remove things. Well, yeah, I think it's great. No, I'm personally happy about that.
Yeah, I'm happy that we can finally also rotate the CA. So, like maybe in the future we can also make the time of the CA expiration configurable, and all will be managed internally without any dependency, and also the CA which will be rotated, which is not something that Cert-manager offers at the moment.
Sounds great then. Many thanks, Fabrizio. I mean, you were the one mostly driving this effort and implementing it, and it turned out great as always. So it's super nice.
Thanks, team effort as always. So
yeah, yes,
good job
true.
for everyone.
And then for the next thing, we have a policy groups announcement. No, so in 117 we added two new custom resources: the admission policy. Oh man, I'm having a admission policy group.
Policy groups.
Yeah, and cluster admission policy group. Maybe it makes sense if I share super fast, because I'm going to do a small demo of maybe 5 minutes. So as usual, you can find everything about it in our docs. So for example, I have opened the explanation page for policy groups, and you can see here that we have the two policy groups. What do these policy groups entail? What do they add? Well, they combine policies that already exist, policies that are in an OCI registry, and you can just run them together in one CRD, and then perform an expression, a Boolean expression, depending on the result of those policies. And of course, this is also available in the CRD's reference doc, so you can just go here and get an idea on the spec and so on. But it's as you would expect. And just to showcase how it is, I can show you here a cluster which has 117 installed, as we can see here. And in that cluster, of course, now we have these new policy groups, and we can see them by looking for the API resources that we control. Kubewarden adds to this, and we can see here that we have cluster admission policy and cluster admission policy group. Let's see how one cluster admission policy group looks like. And here we have it. Here's the definition of the policy. Well, the kind is this new cluster admission policy group. We set the name, and in this case, we're going to do a policy that checks that the service selectors are unique. So there's no service selector that is being used by two services pointing to the same app, so to speak, or that service selector is owned by a team that we trust. So in this case, we are seeing that it's going to be owned by the Quokkas team, and we trust them, so we expect them to self-control themselves and so on. So as usual, we have the rules of the policy, nothing new. We just have we just target the create or update of services, and then we have this new key that is policies, and this is a map of all the policies that we want to run together. Here we have two. We have, as said, the unique service selector, and here you are just reusing a policy that looks that this service selector with a name my app is unique. It's not being used twice in two services, bound. And then we have the owned by Quokkas team, which is a policy that looks for annotations and expect a mandatory annotation owner, and that needs to be set to Quokkas team. So quite simple there, not much. It's not so different there. We can you can see here that it says context-aware resources, because yes, of course, we support context-aware policies. You can just put them here, and you just put the permissions that the policy needs in the policy that uses them. So here we have them, nothing new. It looks more or less the same, no? And then if we go a bit down, we have this expression. And here is where the magic happens. And this is a Boolean expression where we check that we pass the unique service selector policy, or if we don't pass it, needs to be owned by the Quokkas team. This is quite straightforward. With here, you can just do and, or, and negations and so on. We have not added anything more. This is just an expression. In the future, we could add cell expressions if we wanted, and create a new key expression variable. If I remember correctly, that would mirror the one in cell, but we have not done that yet. If you're interested, just get in touch. And then we have the message, which is what gets returned once the policy is not passing, just as an information. As you can see here, with this expression, we just accept or reject. We are not mutating. That's something that policy groups don't support, because it would depend on which of these ones take order first and so on. So then one would need to define an order between them and so on and so forth. And so far, we are not doing that, and that also allows us to have here in the expression, we evaluate the expression with short circuit. So let's say that unique service selector is true. We don't need to evaluate any of that, which means that maybe we don't need to evaluate the policy, but yeah, it happens in parallel. So we are just not waiting for the evaluation of the policy. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's it. Okay, so we have seen how a specific policy group works and looks like. Let's apply it, which I should have maybe done before starting to talk, because it's going to take maybe 20, 30 seconds, because I'm doing this on my laptop. But meanwhile, I can show you, I can just paste the definition of a service. So we are applying the policy, and now we want to just test the policy. For doing that, I'm going to just deploy a service that is the selector is bound to the name my app for the my app application in Kubernetes. And of course, we expect this to succeed. No, it's the first time. It's unique because we don't have any other services. So once we have here the policy running, which for that we need to wait for it to be uniquely reachable. That means that the rollout of the policy server needs to be terminated. We can see now we see that it's, as it says here, active. Okay, so then we deploy our service and it's created as expected. Now, if we were to deploy a second service, here it is. It's a second service. It's a different service. It has a different name, so it's a different service, as we can see here. And it's bound to the same my app, so that's not good. We don't want that, no? The policy should reject it. So if we click enter, we can see that it says Admission webhook cluster blah, blah, denied the request. The service selector is not unique or the service is not owned by the Quocast team, as we wanted. And this is not all for policy groups, because as you have seen, there are several policies in the policy group. That means that when one evaluates the policy, one can get a lot of information from it per the internal policies, of the policy group. We have exposed that in, if I remember correctly, in the warnings. No, it was not the warnings. There's a field for the admission request review. And you can see it if you just do a kube control, apply as you would do, but you raise the verbosity. Here we are putting verbosity 4. And you can see here, in the details causes, you can see here there's 2 causes. And you can see we have the 2 policies. One for the annotations is saying that the annotation is missing. And for the other one is saying that it's already defined by the other service. So that's why the policy fails. And you know exactly what's happening there, which provides a bit more information. Of course, these policy groups that are new are supported throughout our stack. No, I mean, we have them with the audit scanner and so on and so forth. And it was a team effort. No, it was quite a nice team effort. But yeah, that's it. I don't know if I'm missing anything, guys. But I think for the folks,
maybe we should mention that mutation is not supported, just
True.
in case.
Yes, you're right. So yes, mutation is not supported because if one mutates, there needs to be order, and then we need to define an order here. And so far, we have not done that. Okay, so that would be it for policy groups. And then we have what's coming next. And for that, we have SLSA level 3, which we are working on. Maybe, Jose, you can exchange some thoughts on how is it going there, or what's the status?
Yeah, for some time, we already support the SBOOM files to check in case.
Yep, now it should be back, the recording. We will need to splice it.
Okay, sorry. We are in an effort to make Kubewarden stack a SLSA level 3 compliant, which means that we need to enable provenance files for our components, and we are in the process of doing that. So our main components, the controller, the policy server, and the audit scanner, we already have PRs enabling that. Most of the change were changing how we build our container images and where we store the files. So basically, we'll find the attestation files in the registry, attach it to the container image, and in the release page if you want to download it manually. So the changes are almost done, I would say. We just need to finish some polish, how you sign stuff and this kind of thing. But the main changes are just CI pipeline changes, and we are in a good position. We were almost done, I would say. Yeah.
And that sounds great. Okay, yeah. I suppose in the future, now in the release, one could have the artifacts and have a look at them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the next topic would be the short names for the CRDs. Would you like to give us a sneak and peek there?
Yeah, sure. While we are testing the new policy group CRDs, we found out that the names are too big to type. So we would like to type faster. So we decided to enable short names for our CRD. So from the next release, user will be able to type like AP for admission policy, or APG for admission policy groups. The same for cluster ones like CAPG or CAP for cluster admission policy or cluster admission policy groups. So we save a lot of letters there. And that brings us to review our CRDs, and we are considering removing V1 Alpha 2 from our definition. So together with the new short names, we mark V1 Alpha 2 as deprecated, and we probably will work to remove it from future releases. So we would like to test better and ensure that everything will gonna work. So we have an issue to review our CRDs and probably remove the old one. But yeah, we save some letters in the typing now in the next release, since our next release.
Sounds good. I was just reminded of the addition to the docs that
Yeah.
are still in next. So we have here a little sneak peek. And
Yeah.
for the B1 Alpha 2, it's been a while, no? I mean, I think that the last time that we used them was prior.
I think almost a year or more than a year. I don't remember exactly.
So maybe like 15 versions or even more behind, no?
Yeah. Yeah. We start to use V1 when we create V1 CRD, so it's kind of a long time ago. Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay. So that's for what's coming next. We also have some general announcements, no, of things that have happened in the last month. One of them is the Ndots policy. We don't have Flavio today here, but he was the one writing the policy. And this is a new policy and came from a need from community and from people that we support. So this is a policy that is a mutating policy, and it checks for the pods and the DNS config options and sets the Ndots. If I remember correctly, this was written by Flavio, correct? I would say so. So yeah, nothing much there. As usual, you can find the policy, sorry, on Artifact Hub. And yeah, just it's a kube control pool, a kube control scaffold away from being used. And as usual, it's signed and verified and so on. And then we had trusted repos policy rewrite, which was also great. This one, if I remember correctly, was written in Rust and could do with better tests and better settings, checks, and so on, and it was simplified. Meanwhile, having the same capabilities, no, and the same features. So that's also great. Now it's version 0.2. And yeah, use it as always. And that reminds me that in the future we want to move all the policies to from 0 point something to 1 point something. I mean, there's an issue open about that. We need to do some CI work beforehand, no? But we are confident that the policies are going to be backwards compatible, and we have not breaking any compatibility, nor we will. So that's why we want to move to 1 point something, because we intend to support that compatibility, as we are still doing. And then we have the Helm charts testing automation, which is great. I suppose for that, Martin could give us a hint.
Yeah, so this was actually needed. Until now, we were testing or we required release candidates for testing. So we found out quite late in the process that we have some issue, for example, with Helm charts or with putting things together. And we found a way how to improve it a lot. So we introduced some helper functions about running Helm. And this allows us actually to run for our Helm charts and run for every pull request. We have a nightly jobs. We have jobs that check the latest images, the Helm charts from source code, from tag releases. So I think we are covered so much better. And this helps us to speed up the process of testing or finding bugs much easier in the release process.
That sounds great. If I may ask, I was going to ask. So now it's easier now because one can pass. It's kind of like a two-step process in the end-to-end test setup that one can pass the Helm chart arguments or the values, no, and set them, so to speak, and then they get reused for different setups?
So before we had a logic where you could pass arguments, but when tests change something, for example, you passed an argument that you want to install a Kubewarden cluster with the latest charts, with latest image tags, sorry. And then you run some tests, and some tests did upgrade and changed this. So in the follow-up tests, you are not checking actually what you expected to check. So now I improved this. So when you define some initial settings for the controller or a defaults chart, they are kept through all the testing process, and they can be changed, but the change can be also reverted to original settings. And you can also, I introduced also some other arguments like Kubernetes version that is we want to be tested, and yeah, there are some parameters if we want to run it manually. You can select an options.
Which is quite helpful, to be honest.
Yep, I'm looking forward to using this.
Me too. It's super nice. And then last but not least, the reminder of the KubeCon Kubewarden booth. So the KubeCon team will be in KubeCon North America, and yeah, we will be by the CNCF stands and booths. If I remember correctly, it's going to be on Thursday afternoon. So please feel free to come by and say hi and talk to us, and bring any questions or bring any feedback. We will be happy to hear about it. So with that, that's all that we had for today. So as usual, you can find us on Slack, on the Kubewarden channel or Kubewarden dev channel, and hit us there, or hit us on any issues or discussions on GitHub. And with that said, enjoy the rest of the day, and you folks, see you around. Till next time then.
You guys, bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye.